I want to be a bit of a curmudgeon today, I guess. I want to talk to you about the Doctor Who season, whatever you want to call it, the 2011 series of Doctor Who, which started this last week with the Impossible Astronaut, the first of a two-part story. And I'm only reviewing the first part of a two-part story because I was so utterly unimpressed by the first part. Perhaps it'll be redeemed in the end, but there are three things against this story that I just don't like. And the first is the most obvious, that they kill the Doctor. And by the way, that's a spoiler. The Doctor sets himself up. He's obviously arranged to be at the right place at the right time. And he is killed beyond regeneration. And we've been told this, that's one of the people's going to die in this first episode and all that. But of course, it's all a cheat. Any kind of death like that in a show like this is a cheat. The Doctor's not really dead. Well, he may be really dead, but he won't be really dead. By the time it's all over, it will be undone or changed or revamped or something. Because even though Stephen Moffat may think he's going to be producer for the next 100 years, he's not. There's going to be another producer. His actor may quit and he still wants to produce the show. They're going to need to have another Doctor come along, and they've eliminated the Doctor. Doesn't work. I mean, they're just going to find a way out of it. And so it feels cheap. It is cheap. It's nothing but a publicity ploy. It's, I suppose, one way to pretend like the stakes are really high. But they're not, because as the audience, we don't believe that there's ever the slightest chance that the Doctor won't be back. Unlike Rory last year, who died, and we didn't think there'd be a chance he'd be back, and there was, which was kind of a surprise, more or less. So, I don't like that. That's really a detraction to this story. The second thing is the silence. Now, we saw the silence last year. Well, we heard or didn't hear the silence last year. And this year, they've turned out to be a remarkably unremarkable alien species. They look like Greys, and they wear suits like Men in Black. So I'm guessing we're supposed to believe that this is where the legends of the Grey aliens and the Men in Black come from. And if they don't throw Area 51 in here by the end of this, they'll have just missed a trick. The two things I don't like about the silence is, first, silence means something. That word, silence, means something. It means absence of sound. It does not mean a kind of lame alien race that you forget when you aren't looking at. Silence has meaning. I see no silence in these aliens. They're not very talkative, but they do talk, and so, I don't know. The second thing is the notion that you forget them when you're not looking at them. Alright, it's science fiction, it's fantasy, it's crazy, it's wild, you can come up with anything you want. And I could almost buy that premise if people didn't keep doing this. Oh, look! At that strange, crazy alien over there! It's hideous! It's horrible! I can't take my eyes off it, don't you? Huh? What are you talking about? I'm not talking about anything. Problem is, you're not erasing the memory of the people who watched you have a reaction to the aliens. And as long as you don't do that, then this would be rumbled pretty quick. Even if you could never, ever see the alien and remember it, there would still be this cultural meme or something where people keep seeing things right there and then instantly forget them, because it's quite obvious that that's what's happening to these people. So, right now they're in 1969. There's not a whole lot of camera technology except for thousands and thousands of film cameras out there. Nothing like everyone with a digital camera now, but nonetheless, there would be pictures of them. There'd be people who'd see them and perhaps jot them down or write something down or be talking on the phone or something, and then people would know, and then people would think they're crazy, and it might mean there were more people in asylums. But any way you go about it, that just doesn't cover your tracks well enough. And I don't think the premise is very strong. I don't like the idea that the Silence is just a boring old race of aliens. And we don't know what they're up to right at the moment. I have my suspicions that they're still trying to blow up the universe like they tried to do last time for some reason by fouling up the timelines and having the Amy reveal that River is her daughter or some such nonsense. But that's the second one wrong. Finally, there's River's song. When she first appeared in Silence of the Library, it was an interesting idea. The notion that the Doctor would meet someone who had met him first. And it was pretty obvious that they were meeting out of order. Now, the internet has produced this erroneous idea that River Song is meeting the Doctor in reverse order, and I maintain that that's not true. I know that even Moffat has used the word they're meeting in different directions, which implies that they're passing each other in the night. And even in this episode, there's some dialogue about how someday she knows the Doctor will have never met her, and that will kill her, which I think she means metaphorically, but not. They are not meeting in reverse order. They are meeting in jumbled up order. This is difficult to explain because this is really a complicated and easy to mess up idea, and I think that's why it's beginning to wear thin. We know that supposedly the last time River meets the Doctor is when David Tennant is the Doctor. We know that she then meets him at the Wreck of the Byzantium episode, and she's already in prison trying to get a pardon. So sometime between when she did the Byzantium, if they were going in reverse order, sometime when she left the Byzantium and when she met up with the Doctor in the library, she's gotten away from that, and she's gotten a pardon, she's gotten a job, she's gone out, and she's done so. She mentions at the Byzantium that she'll meet the Doctor when the Pandorica opens. So obviously the Pandorica open has already happened for her, and she knows it hasn't yet happened for the Doctor. But yet she also knows that it's basically kind of the next thing that they're going to do together, and it is. Now, assuming that that was the last thing that she did with the Doctor, and this is the next thing in line, so that could work out. But now we've got this instance where she meets the 1100-year-old Doctor first. And she's done stuff with him, like Jim the Fish and the other thing. Oh, Easter Island. And fine, if they were going in the opposite directions, they would. But then she immediately meets the Doctor, who's now 900 years old, who hasn't done the other things, Jim the Fish and the Easter Island stuff. So you map that out on a timeline, you can see that that's actually not a reverse linear reaction if she's ever going to meet him again. And we know that she is, because she will down the line. And also, there's no clue as to where this is in relation to the Pandorica or the Byzantium. I don't think there's been a mention of the Byzantium yet, nor was there a mention of the Pandorica, which could imply it came before that. But she didn't bat an eye when Rory mentioned that the last time he did it, the Doctor blew up the universe, and nor do we have any explanation as to how River was at Amy's wedding giving her the diary. So this whole thing is a convoluted mess. I don't think it's going to go anywhere satisfactory. We do know that the Doctor met her now as a girl. Unfortunately, they've thrown a really obvious, hopefully red herring that Amy's pregnant, and it would obviously make sense if River were Amy's daughter, if you were being incredibly cliched, and I sincerely hope it. But nonetheless, each time I see River, I like her less, and that took it away from me in this story. So you put the three things together I don't like, and the fact that there's nothing happening in this story except kind of... It's just not as good as everybody seems to think it is. And I'm apparently becoming a curmudgeon, and I can only hope that they will totally and utterly salvage this in the next part. But the previews make it look like it's almost a completely different story. Time will tell. If you want to hear us talk about this episode in detail, tune in on Fusion Patrol. That's podcast.fusionpatrol.com after the next episode airs, and I, along with my co-host Ben, will be discussing the full story at length and probably arguing about it.